Welcome to another exciting adventure here, talking about online events and having the time of your life. Time is such an important thing when it comes to events, and you've got to get it right. And the world has changed, and time has changed. So there's a few things I want to cover about time and timing in events. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Warwick Merry. I'm a triple certified event professional, certified speaking professional, and certified virtual presenter, and I produce and host online events and hybrid events. That's my key thing. But I want to talk to you about timing today. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well as we go along. So hit the chat box if you haven't already. If for some reason you're on Facebook, if you go to this link, it'll free up your chat so I can see it here in the Restream headquarters studio. That would be superb. All right, let's get on with things. So time, we're talking about time and time in events. Events have changed. People have changed. People's tolerance has changed. And what I've seen happen is with the pandemic and the lockdown and our massive shift over to online and hybrid events, people have just gone, oh, we'll just get our usual 3-day conference and bang it online. Doesn't work like that. People don't want to sit in front of their desk, in front of their monitor, on their phone for 3 days straight. In the same way that some speakers used to go, oh, you tell great stories and I'd speak for 90 minutes and it's great and then you go online and 90 minutes can feel like a lifetime. So what is the right time? What are the best times? I'm really interested in your thoughts. So if you have any thoughts on what do you like when you're attending an online hybrid event, even live events, what sort of time frame do you like? Here's the thing. It's not about the time. Think about this. Sometimes you'll go to a movie and you'll be like, oh, man, this thing's just dragging on. I don't know if you watch some of the old movies, because old movies were shot differently. People were had different tolerances. And so sometimes it feels like it's dragging. Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston, man, that thing goes on and there's different story twists. And it drags. And the shots between are long panning shots. Whereas nowadays, you look any of the Avengers superhero movies or Transformers and stuff, there's lots of little shots that change in between. As soon as the film starts, bang, something happens. The stereotypical James Bond opens with some big chase scene or some big heist that he's just finishing up before he goes to see M and then finds out the next assignment, what the main problem is, and then off we go into the movie. So there's something about we've got to capture the people, and then there's got to be all these things happening along the way to keep them. Whereas in the past, we could tell a long, beautiful story. So it is always about how do we make sure, and you've probably seen speakers at events, some that they only might have half an hour, and you're like, oh, that's like 25 minutes too long. Whereas other people, they'll speak for 2 hours, and you're like, where did the time go? That was just awesome. I was just engrossed with them. So it is about what is the best time. And so Alan's comment is that half-day virtual, anything live would be good. Yes, look, we're here in Australia, half of the continent's in lockdown. Half the population, is in lockdown. But yeah, half-day virtual, that's not a bad summation. So let me talk a little bit further about that. So let's talk about overall programs. One of my clients over the last 12 months, they wanted to go to the online space, and they insisted on three full days of programming, and it's too much, and it was too much, and we didn't quite get as many people online as what we wanted to. And what I've noticed is for some online events, what people will do is nowadays most of us will have two screens, even if it's a laptop and a phone. So maybe your phone's your second screen. So what people will do is they'll be doing their work, but have the conference going in the background. So they're trying to do two things at once. So it's a little bit different. So it is about how do we maintain that focus? So I would suggest to you 3 days is incredibly too long, like way too long. Even 2 days is too long. I like Alan's concept of half days. And what you can do now is go, okay, this is how we used to do 3 days in a row, everyone in the hotel and it's all here. But now it's like, actually, people aren't traveling. People aren't going anywhere. Catering's no longer an issue because it's all self-catered. So thank goodness. Caterers and the whole special meals requirements, a whole nother story. But it is about the travel and the catering and the inconvenience and the stepping out of life is removed. So what you can do is some very cool things. My association, the Professional Speakers Association, Professional Speakers Australia, we've got a coming series coming up, and it's once a month. So on a Saturday for a couple of hours, we're getting some of the senior speakers and award-winning speakers to share some of the things that they're doing. So the conference, so to speak, or the event goes for a month, but it's a couple of hours every month. And you can pick and choose which ones you want to go to. Maybe something like that would work for you. Maybe you want just a power session. And like I'm a big believer, half a day is good, Alan. And it's what that also allows you to do is go, okay, what time zones do I need to consider? So in Australia, we want to look at how do we get Perth, and so how do we get the East Coast and the West Coast involved, and then how do we maybe stretch it to New Zealand, and that also helps us cover a lot of Southeast Asia. So often having Melbourne time from 10 till, say, 2, 3 in the afternoon is a nice little chunk. Christine prefers the 2 to 4 hours. And yes, sometimes just the nice little short, sharp chunks are good. There was a 90-minute session I ran yesterday. I hosted yesterday. And the feeling that I got is we could have tightened it a little bit more. Here's the thing. When it comes to presentations, you don't need the full hour. All those years ago when I was working corporate, people would book an hour of your time, and they usually still do because they have an hour meeting. If you have an hour for a meeting, the meeting will go an hour. So what I'm trying to do is get people to say, just half an hour. Give me half an hour. It was 45 minutes, but now for virtual, half an hour. When I try and have conversations with people, I have meeting slots of half an hour because we'll get through everything we need to in half an hour. And knowing that we only have half an hour, we're going to cut to the chase. We're going to get to the good stuff. Yes, we'll be social and polite, but we'll cut to the chase. I would suggest to you that a half an hour is good enough to get to the meat. Maybe have 10 minutes Q&A somewhere in there afterwards, or maybe put it in the middle, whatever. So that half an hour to 40 minutes is more than enough. It's going to get you the chunk of what you're after. And it also leaves your guests wanting more. You're more likely to come back. You're more likely for your delegates and your guests to actually absorb what you're talking about. Again, that whole principle that I've talked about in terms of the delegates want the events done with them, so with them included, not to them, still counts here. So within that half hour, you want to make sure you've got the delegates doing something. So I would suggest to you that and this is the same, whether it's for industry speakers, professional speakers, it's the same. Industry speakers need to just get better. And I've got to tell you, so do professional speakers. Get better at presenting on camera and cut to the chase. We don't need, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So we don't need all the whiz-bang graphics. We don't need all the stuff flying across the screen. What we need is good content that is supported by whatever props that you may choose to use. So, Christine, thank you. Yeah, face-to-face, you can talk a little bit more. It's a difference in the energy. You can have that energy in the room. So I'm a real fan of keeping it short. And that's not only for the presentation, but also for the whole event. And if you need to, stagger it out. One of my repeat clients who I really enjoy working with, we've got their annual conference coming up, and it's the morning on the Thursday and then the afternoon on the Friday. What that means is that in the Friday, we'll do the awards and it's a nice relaxed atmosphere, but we're still covering the key things that we need to, and everyone's focused. So, so Alan's talking about a 10-minute talk. 10 minutes is really short, like really short. I think it was Winston Churchill who said, if you want me to speak for 5 minutes, I'm going to have at least a day to prepare it. If you want me to speak for a day, I only need 5 minutes to prepare. Because there is that challenge. It's easier to sort of waffle, but that 5 minutes and cutting it sweet, just really getting to the core in 10 minutes is really, really tough. Ask anyone who's done a TEDx or a TED Talk. It's hard to cut the chase. Not impossible, but hard. But I think it's important to always consider your delegates. Do the delegates really need to know this chunk of information I'm talking about? whatever it is, keep your timing tight. So tight on your presentation, tight on your conference, and look beyond what we used to do and look at what's possible now. There have been some follow the sun conferences where we have a global audience and you'll just continue to present. Again, don't just pad it to get there. Make sure that there's quality content every step of the way, and understand that your delegates may miss some things, and that's okay. So, all right, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about timing. If you want to get, as I said before, get better online. If you want to get better and be an online presenter pro, I've got 7 keys that are free. It's a 20-minute video because it's kept nice and short. And it's got a companion PDF, which has some of those different notes and stuff there. Love for you to access your copy. Just hit that link and you will be away. Actually, you can't hit the link. You've got to type it in. But it's a lovely thing to type, and I do hope you enjoy typing that. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I look forward to your company next time. I'm here at 9 a.m. every Thursday, Australian time. Check on all the social media channels, wherever you're watching right now. I've enjoyed your company, and now it's time to go and do something else. Thank you for being here. See you next time.